Floki, my cat. Floki came to me in October of 2018. According to the vet, he was approximately 8 months old. No one knew for sure, except the person or persons who abandoned Floki, and 3 dogs, 2 pit bulls and 1 mutt. So it started on a warmer than usual October afternoon. I pulled up to park sometime afternoon because I remember it still being bright, muggy, and very hot. It had been raining pretty much every afternoon except this one. Just plain dog days southern hot it was. I didn't see the dogs until I had stopped and got out of my car. 2 of the dogs came running and barking from behind the neighbor's shed, and I could hear and see one of the pit bulls trapped in a makeshift pen. No one was living in the place next door, but workers had been there for the better part of a week. I thought either they belonged to a worker or workers, or I had a new neighbor. Well, there was no one around, so I called the landlady and asked about the dogs. She didn't know about any dogs and said she would handle it. I'm not sure what she did. I just know later on that evening the dogs were gone. All this time, I had no idea there was a cat in the mix. I went back outside to look around and saw where someone took at least a little care when they dropped off the lot of them. There was actually a food bowl. There was actually some bowls with water in them. And that's when I heard and saw Floki standing up on one of the rails of the makeshift pen, meowing very loud. He wanted to be heard and recognized me as a possible source of food, water, shelter, comfort, or whatever a kitten in distress may be thinking. I called, "Kitty, kitty," and he came straight away, rubbing and meowing on my ankles like a feline would. I picked him up, and he was clean. He didn't stink. I didn't see any varmints hiding and chewing on him. This led me to believe that he had been taken care of, and circumstances and moments of life just led to someone making a bad decision. We've probably all been there. I brought Floki into the house and gave him milk, which he wouldn't and never did touch. He never liked milk. He did, however, like almond milk a little bit. He wouldn't drink much of it, but he would drink some. I had no cat food, so I opened up a can of my dog's, Harley, a male, now 11-year-old yellow lab, and spooned him out some in a bowl. He scoffed it down so fast I thought he was surely going to choke. I also had figured 3 heaping tablespoons would have surely been enough. Boy, was I wrong. I made the decision to adopt him and named him Floki, after the mischievous boat builder in the series Vikings. Turned out to be a great and fitting name for him. After I decided to adopt him, I went to the store and got some essentials like food, treats, and a tray thing for a litter box and some cat litter. When I got back, Floki ate the whole can of cat food and still acted hungry. But by now, he's starting to get satiated a little bit, and he started noticing his environment. Later on, around 8 o'clock p.m. that evening, I was munching on some Triscuits, and Floki jumped up in my lap and actually took a bite off a Triscuit and ate it. I'll never forget that, as well as the whole of Floki's existence here with Harley and I. I've often said that people can and do get attached to anything. My example would be this. Put a pen in your pocket and keep it there daily for a month, which is a relatively short period of time in the grand scheme of things. After a month, take the pen out and leave it wherever, and I will guarantee that before the day is out, you will reach for that pen at least once, but more than likely you will think of it several times, and possibly for about half as long as you carried it around. At any moment, you might reach for that pen. And a pen is an inanimate object with no feelings and no dependency on you in the least little way. It can't rub on you, it can't get to know you, it can't share anything with you. And that's inanimate, and you got attached to it. Try it, you'll see. I have learned a great deal about myself and some about cats. First, my opinion of cats in general had always been that they were stupid. End of story. Boy, was I wrong. Cats are not stupid and learn very quickly. For instance, I have one room here that I don't even let Harley into because there's just too many dangerous objects in there. Hooks, primarily knives, gaff hooks, all kind of stuff, tools. So after telling Floki just a couple of times that he couldn't go in there, and I'd stop him before he'd get in, like you would, and direct him out of it. Just a couple times, he would stand there at the door and watch me, but he wouldn't go in. With me here or there, he wouldn't go in. So they're smart. Cats are actually smart. I could, and I did, leave that door open and unattended, and he never tried to go into that room after that. I was amazed, and I still am. It was a lot more than just that. He learned very quickly the routines that I and we have. I put Harley's food up at 8 p.m., and at this time, Floki's as well. Before I knew it, no matter how long he had been outside, he would meow at the door around 7:30 each night, almost every night. The few times that he was late, he would come in and wouldn't even look at his bowl because he knew it was empty. I couldn't believe it. No, cats are not stupid. Cantankerous, stubborn, independent, and occasionally loving. Yeah, those are words that come to mind now when I think about cats. In the second week of April 2020, around 7:30 p.m., Floki got ran over and died. Because of the time and the place that happened, I think he was on the way home to get the last meal of the day. No, not stupid. What I have learned about myself is that I am human and can very easily get attached to things. Not sure of the right word there for things. They just don't seem large enough. I have learned that I am not too old to fall in love. I truly loved and still love Floki. I mourned his death, as I think I would have mourned a family member. Even now, as I write this, I miss Floki and mourn his loss. I could not believe that Harley grieved, mourned, and missed Floki as well. During the first stages of me grieving, Harley remained by my side. He knew something was not right. A lot of people that own animals probably know what I mean. After a while, I settled down, and Harley just plain started acting funny, moping around, not eating. He actually went 2 days and only ate a single can of dog food, portions at a time. He was just complacent. He'd look up at me like, he was lost. I had no idea what was going on. But even when I would pet him, he would look at me like he was crying. He wouldn't play with his rope, chase a ball. That night I woke up sometime during the night and looked for Harley because he always sleeps by me on the floor. I could not believe that Harley grieved, mourned, and missed Floki as well. During the first stages of me grieving, Harley remained by my side. He knew something was not right. A lot of people who own dogs, animals, probably know what I mean. So then after a while, I settled down and Harley just plain started acting funny. He was moping around, he wasn't eating. He went 2 days and only had 1 can of dog food and portions at a time. Even when I would pet him, he would look at me like he was crying, just like he was lost. He wouldn't play with his rope or chase the ball. I knew something was wrong when he wouldn't chase that ball. That night I woke up at some time and I looked down and Harley was not where he usually is. He usually sleeps by me on the floor. And I looked, he was sleeping in Floki's bed. For several days he would lie around on places that Floki had favored. When I finally got my shit together and I realized what was happening, I sat down and held Harley and I explained to him just like he was human and would understand everything I said. I told him that Floki would not be coming home and why. I have a very hard time believing what happened next. That night I woke up and took a look and Harley was back next to me. The next morning he ate his customary can of food, chased his ball, and started wagging his tail again. I guess I have no choice but to believe that somehow he understood something of my conversation about Floki. Floki, you are and will be truly missed, and I thank you for the time that we had together. I hope that I gave you some happiness in your life, especially knowing what I knew of your life and how it started. Rest in peace, Floki. I am a better person today because of you.